Because I feel disrespect for anyone who enjoys my music.
So here's some things you should know about James Blunt. He gives approximately 0 fucks about whether you think he's cool or not. He's famous for that one song that everyone likes to play at weddings.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
Which you should stop doing.
You know, people think it's a romantic song, but it's about a guy who was high as a kite on drugs, stalking someone else's girlfriend in a public place. I don't think that's romantic, I think it's creepy.
Long before music, he was a soldier who fought in the army, and he is exceptionally honest in interviews.
So, is it true that you have a nightclub in your house called Blunty's Nightclub where everyone is beautiful?
Yeah, Blunty's Nightclub is the title, yeah. And then I have a big neon sign my band gave me saying Blunty's Nightclub where everybody's beautiful and if you drink enough, they are. And I have a mannequin on the door as well with a clipboard with my friends' names and red wrote around her so she lets people in or doesn't, depending on who they are. Her name is Svetlana. Come along anytime.
I'm going to absolutely take you up on that offer.
Goodbye, my lover. Goodbye, my friend.
So, the first 3 albums you made, correct me if I'm wrong, you were living at Carrie Fisher's house, weren't you?
And I recorded Goodbye My Lover in her bathroom.
No, why in her bathroom?
Because she had a piano there and it sounded good.
Okay, who has a piano in their bathroom?
I think, the question is who doesn't in Hollywood?
Right, evidently. So, for people that only know her as a character and as a sort of this larger-than-life Hollywood creature, what has the world lost? What was she actually like?
I'm an incredibly creative, beautifully mad human being who is, very funny but very caring at the same time. She had her own demons, which she dealt with with humour but also with great honesty. Carrie never took herself very seriously and she had a great, wicked sense of humour and I think that's why we got on.
Hi, I'm Lieutenant James Blunt, and this is the first instalment of my video diary. Today, we deploy to the Balkans.
What's the thing most people get wrong about war zones?
I suppose there may be a misunderstanding about soldiers is that they're all aggressive thugs, keen for a fight. And in many ways, politicians are aggressive thugs, keen for a fight and want to flex their muscles with armies. But soldiers are on the ground and they know the consequences.
A mass grave has been exhumed. A lot of people died and been buried in shallow graves here.
I think soldiers are probably the quickest people to try and avoid a fight if you can overpower people with strength of will instead of the strength of your muscle, then everyone hopefully gets to go home.
There was a moment when you were overseas where you were working underneath a general who, in your words, effectively stopped World War III. Can you talk me through exactly what transpired then?
But yeah, it was the most amazing day of my life. I was a reconnaissance officer. I led 30,000 people from the Macedonia-Kosovo border up to the capital, Pristina, through minefields and with quite a lot of pressure. If you're leading 30,000 people, you really want to make sure you go the right direction because it's hard to tell 30,000 people that you've gone the wrong way. And when we got to the airport, the Russians were there. They'd been allowed through by the Serbs. They had taken control of the airport. There were 200 of them lined up like a Mexican standoff, not allowing us on. And I was told by General Wesley Clark, the Supreme Commander, Allied Supreme Commander, to overrun and overpower them, which would have been easy. I was in a tank and I had a lot of soldiers with me. We could have done that. But it seemed like the consequences to that would have been quite serious.
Somewhat.
So I contested the instruction for a time, and to his aggravation, and then eventually a great general came up on the line and said that he wasn't going to have his soldiers being responsible for starting World War III, so we should pull back and surround the airport instead. And the Russians, after 2 days, they said, we have no food, no water, can we have some? And we said, if you share the airport, we share our food and water.
That career as a reconnaissance officer, I imagine, comes with a great deal of sort of spatial awareness and paying attention to around you. And I'm wondering, does that have a lasting impact, that intense period of being hyper aware of the world around you?
Yeah, you're totally right. I think I mean, as a reconnaissance officer, my job was to be the eyes and ears of my my commanders, at whatever level actually, and then pass that information back for them to act on. And that meant I had to be incredibly, attentive to details around me, of intentions around me, and insensitive to my surroundings. And as a songwriter, maybe I'm doing the same. Maybe I'm sensitive to my surroundings and suck things in and compile them into songs to pass back to my listeners instead of my superiors and relay what it is that I've seen and heard.
Did someone give you something to help you ease the pain? Like the liquor.
And it's definitely quite an addictive sensation of revealing, my most painful secrets in front of a few thousand people.
What motivates somebody to do that? Is it an impulse, a desperate need to give out the deepest, darkest secrets?
No, it's money.
Best answer ever. That's awesome. No, really. Is it really money? Or no, because it couldn't have started with money.
Maybe it didn't start with money, but it finishes with money.
Yeah, fair enough.
I want you to make me better, and
You once said, I think back in 2014, that you read all of your reviews. Do you still?
Yeah, I think it's important to. Saddam Hussein didn't read his reviews and he thought he was winning.
Right. So, what do you get out of that? Beyond awareness of what people think and what people say and having a good sense of humour about it, what does it give you back?
Well, fundamentally, I think I really do believe strongly that professional reviewers probably don't know what the fuck they're talking about.
No, they do not. I've been one for a decade. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Because at the same time, being a professional reviewer, your own ego is in the mix. And so if something is hip and cool, you're probably going to say it's hip and cool because you're expected to, and you want your readers and reviewers to think that you're a person who's in the know. A review from someone who's just a punter on the street. Someone who says, I don't know anything about music. That's the best review you're ever going to get.
It's funny, a couple of years ago, Chris Martin gave an interview before he released an album, and he's like, he was worried that Coldplay had stopped being cool. He was desperate that they'd release something that made them cool again. And I was thinking, can you reverse engineer cool? Is it something that you can preempt?
Yeah, I'm not sure if I should be swearing in your camera so much.
No, you can swear on the show.
Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about with cool? What the fuck are you on about? What is that word? What does it matter? And the reason I don't care about it is because, again, I was in the army, where we dealt with life and death. Not with what's cool and what's not cool. It was life and death, and if I write songs about what it is to be alive or dead, to be addicted or to be clean or to be in love or not, none of those are cool. It's about reality, and most of the people in the world aren't cool. They deal with real life things. I don't want to be cool. I want to sing about what it is that makes you tick.
That's a great answer.